This is the racing ladder.
The professional stories behind NASCAR's biggest careers.
From the bottom of the ranks to the top of the Cup Series. How they rose, who they drive for, and what it takes to win.
With Oro Quintana
And Cole Vega.
The climb starts now. The climb starts now.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Racing Ladder, the show where we break down how NASCAR's biggest names actually made it, the real professional climb, the teams, the rivalries, and what it truly takes to reach the top. I'm Cole Vega. Now, if you follow this sport, you know the usual story. A future champion gets strapped into a go-kart before they can barely walk, spends 15 years grinding through short tracks, and claws their way up. That's the blueprint. But today's driver tore that blueprint up. He didn't grow up racing. He barely raced a real car until he was almost 16 years old. He learned this sport in his bedroom on a computer, and a decade later, he was winning the Daytona 500. Not once, back to back. This is the story of William Byron, and how a kid with a keyboard rewrote the map of how you get to NASCAR's elite. Let's get into it. Picture a teenager alone in a room, headset on, hands on a plastic wheel, staring at a screen. No crew, no sponsors, no trophy in sight. Just lap after lap after lap of a race that isn't real. Now, picture that same person, 10 years later, climbing from a stock car in Victory Lane at the biggest race in America, the crown jewel of the entire sport, with confetti raining down. Between those two images is one of the most unlikely and important career climbs NASCAR has ever seen. This is how it happened. William Byron was born in November of 1997 in Charlotte, North Carolina, geographically the beating heart of NASCAR country. But he wasn't born into it. There was no family race team, no father who wheeled late models on the weekends. Byron was just a fan. He got hooked at around 6 years old, watching stock cars on television, and his dad took him to his first live race at Martinsville Speedway in 2006. He loved it, but loving racing and doing racing are two very different things, and the sport has a brutal clock. In NASCAR's development world, if you haven't started winning in karts by the time you're 10 or 11, the industry has usually already written you off. Byron wasn't in a kart at 10. He wasn't in one at 12. By every conventional measure, he was already too late. The talent scouts weren't watching him because there was nothing to watch. The path that produces almost every professional stock car driver in America had, effectively, already closed for William Byron before he ever turned a wheel. And that's what makes what happened next so remarkable, because he found a completely different door. That door was a computer. As a teenager, Byron discovered iRacing, a hyper-realistic online racing simulator. To most people, iRacing is a game. To William Byron, it became something closer to an apprenticeship. This wasn't casual play. The platform is famous for its accuracy, laser-scanned replicas of real tracks, physics that punish a bad throttle input the same way a real car would, and fields packed with serious, competitive racers from all over the world. Byron threw himself into it. Over roughly 3 years, he racked up more than 100 online wins. Think about what he was actually building in that room. He was memorizing the racing line at tracks he had never physically set foot on. He was learning how a car behaves when the tires go away, how to save fuel, how to manage a long green flag run, how to set up a pass 3 corners before he made it. He was developing the instincts of a professional racer without ever leaving his house. And people in the real racing world started to notice. His talent in the virtual space was undeniable. the kind of thing that made insiders wonder whether all those digital laps could actually translate to steel and rubber. Byron was about to find out. In 2012, at 15 years old, Byron and his father finally looked into how you actually start racing real cars. The answer was Legends cars. Small, affordable, fierce little machines that serve as an entry point for grassroots racers. This is the moment the whole gamble either pays off or falls apart. Plenty of fast sim racers get into a real car and discover that the screen never told them about G-force or fear or the way a real car moves underneath you. Byron discovered the opposite. Everything he had drilled virtually carried over. He knew the lines. He understood racecraft, and the results were immediate and staggering. In his Legends run, Byron won 33 races and captured the Young Lions National Championship, along with the Summer Shootout title at Charlotte. 33 wins from a kid who, a few years earlier, had never driven a race car at all. The experiment wasn't an experiment anymore. The virtual laps had been real training all along, and William Byron had just proven it in the most convincing way possible, by winning over and over the second he got the chance. Winning in Legends cars got him noticed. In 2014, Byron signed with JR Motorsports, the team owned by Dale Earnhardt Jr., to run their late model stock car program, driving the number 9 Liberty University Chevrolet at Hickory Motor Speedway. This was a serious step up in competition. Real stock cars against hardened short-track veterans. Byron made his late model debut in March of 2014 and immediately ran up front, finishing second in his very first start. Across that season, he scored a win and 11 top 5 finishes. And he ended the year second in the standings, behind his own teammate, a driver named Josh Berry, who would go on to reach the Cup Series himself. For a driver this new to real cars, running at the front of a competitive late model field wasn't just good. It was a signal to the entire industry that the iRacing kid was the real thing, and that he was climbing fast. The question had officially shifted. It was no longer whether William Byron could make it. It was how high and how quickly. 2015 is when Byron stepped onto NASCAR's actual developmental ladder. He signed with H. Scott Motorsports to run the NASCAR K and N Pro Series East, a series specifically designed to funnel talent toward the national ranks. And here's a detail worth pausing on. One of the figures connected to that operation was Justin Marks, the same Justin Marks who would later found Trackhouse Racing, one of the most disruptive team-building stories in modern NASCAR. The sport is a small world, and the people you rise alongside tend to reappear later. Byron dominated that K and NE season, winning 4 races and taking the championship, along with Rookie of the Year honors. That same year, he made his ARCA Series debut and finished second after leading a huge chunk of the race. And late in 2015, he got his first taste of a NASCAR National Series, a truck series start at Phoenix. It ended in a crash just a few laps in, a rare early stumble. But the trajectory was undeniable. In the span of about 3 years, William Byron had gone from a simulator to Legends cars, to late models, to a NASCAR Touring Championship. He wasn't climbing the ladder, he was sprinting up it. For 2016, Byron landed a full-time ride in the NASCAR Truck Series with Kyle Busch Motorsports, one of the most successful development teams in the sport. And it was here that he was paired with a crew chief named Rudy Fugle, a relationship that would quietly become the single most important professional partnership of his entire career. Remember that name. What Byron did in that rookie truck season was, frankly, historic. He qualified for every race, ran up front, constantly, and won 7 times a record for a rookie in that series. His first career national win came at Kansas in May, in just his 5th start. 7 wins as a rookie in one of the toughest development series in American motorsport. He took home Rookie of the Year, and he did it with Rudy Fugle calling the shots on the pit box. That combination, Byron's precision behind the wheel and Fugle's strategic mind on the stand, just worked. Neither of them could have known it yet, but they'd be reunited years later at the very top of the sport. And when they were, the wins would come flooding back. For now, though, the message was clear. Give this driver good equipment and the right people, and he wins. Immediately, there was no slowing down. In 2017, Byron moved up again to the NASCAR Xfinity Series, back with Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s JR Motorsports, driving the number 9 Chevrolet. The Xfinity Series is the last rung before the Cup Series, the final proving ground, packed with hungry up-and-comers and grizzled veterans who never left. Most drivers need a season or two just to find their footing there. Byron won the championship in his rookie year, clinching the title at Homestead Miami Speedway after a season of relentless consistency, and collected yet another Rookie of the Year award along the way. Stack it up: a K and N East title, a record-setting truck rookie campaign, and now an Xfinity championship 3 straight years. 3 straight steps up the ladder, winning at every single level. That kind of resume doesn't just earn respect. It earns the attention of the most powerful team in the sport. And that team came calling. In 2018, William Byron reached the summit, the NASCAR Cup Series, with Hendrick Motorsports. But he didn't just get a cup ride. He inherited the number 24. For anyone who knows this sport, that number carries enormous weight. It's the car that Jeff Gordon drove to 4 championships and legendary status. The car that helped define an entire era of NASCAR. Handing it to a 20-year-old former sim racer was a massive statement of belief from team owner Rick Hendrick, and it came with pressure most rookies never face. And here's the honest part of the story. It was hard. At the Cup level, everyone is fast. Everyone is disciplined. The margins that separated Byron from the field in the lower series suddenly vanished, because now everyone around him was elite. He earned Rookie of the Year in 2018, and in 2019 he flashed his raw speed by winning the pole for the Daytona 500. But the wins didn't come right away. For a driver who had won at literally every level on his way up, learning to lose, learning to grind through the humbling reality of the top tier was a completely new experience. He had reached the mountain. Now he had to learn how to climb the last, steepest part of it. The breakthrough took patience. Byron scored his first career Cup Series victory in 2020, and you could see the pieces starting to come together, but he still wasn't yet the driver he'd eventually become. Talent was never the question. The question was consistency and refinement, and finding the exact right people around him to unlock it all. Great drivers rarely arrive fully formed at the Cup level. They're built there, race by race, disappointment by disappointment. Byron was absorbing hard lessons about tire management, about track position, about when to push and when to protect what he had. He was learning the difference between being fast and being a winner, which, at this level, are 2 entirely separate things. What he needed was a catalyst. Someone who understood how to translate his precision into results over a full, grueling 36-race season. As it turned out, that person wasn't new to him at all. He was someone from Byron's past. In 2021, Hendrick Motorsports made a move that would define William Byron's career. They put Rudy Fugle, the same crew chief from Byron's record-setting 2016 Truck Series season, on top of the number 24 pit box. The partnership that had produced 7 rookie wins in the Truck Series was back together, now at the highest level of the sport. And almost immediately, it clicked. The wins started coming, and they didn't stop. Fluke understood how Byron thinks, how he communicates what the car is doing, and how to build a race strategy around his strengths, that smooth, calculating, mistake-averse style. Under Fluke, Byron transformed from a talented driver with flashes of speed into a genuine week-in, week-out contender. As that partnership matured, Byron reached a new level entirely, becoming one of the winningest drivers of his era and a constant presence at the front of the field. The young man who started in a simulator was no longer just competing with the sport's best. He was out-racing them as often as anyone, and the defining moments of his career were still ahead of him. Among the crowning achievements of that career, Byron captured the Daytona 500, the biggest and most prestigious race in all of NASCAR, and earned his way into championship contention, fighting through to the sport's final 4 title contenders after a hard-fought run for that last spot. Then he did something almost no driver ever does. He won Daytona 500 a second time, back-to-back, and added a regular season championship along the way, cementing his place as one of the most consistent and formidable drivers in the entire garage. Set that against where his story began. A young man who came to the sport late by every traditional standard, who learned to race on a computer in his room, became a 2-time winner of the sport's greatest race, and a permanent fixture in the championship. Here's why William Byron's story is bigger than just one driver. For decades, there was only one accepted road into professional stock car racing. Start impossibly young, spend a fortune, and grind through karts and short tracks for a decade and a half. Byron proved there's another way in. He proved that the skills that matter most, racecraft, precision, decision-making, the ability to process a race at high speed, can be built in a simulator, and that they translate all the way to victory lane at the Daytona 500. He didn't sneak in through a loophole. He earned every rung of the ladder, winning championships in 3 different series on his way up. But he got to that ladder through a door nobody thought counted. And somewhere right now, there's another teenager logging into a simulator, running laps at a track they've never seen, dreaming a dream that used to be impossible. Because of William Byron, it isn't impossible anymore. That's his real legacy, not just the wins, but the road he proved exists. If you love the real stories behind how these drivers actually climbed the ranks, the professional journey, not the tabloid noise, then hit subscribe. Every week, we break down another NASCAR career, right here on the Racing Ladder. For the Racing Ladder, I'm Cole Vega. Keep climbing, and we'll see you in the next one.